Last week, I did one of the coolest makeover and transformed the regular-sized Kingpin back to his true, intimidating Netflix Daredevil self. And that got me really thinking, I have to make a Netflix Daredevil display now, don't I? I have the Netflix Daredevil figure, and Matt Murdock from the No Way Home wave. These three would be perfect on the mini display. For those who watch my videos regularly, I make mini displays for figures that are good but not great, or figures that don't need full-size diorama displays. These mini displays allow me to save space but still give the figure stages to shine on, and I also really like the consistent look they all share. But back to the Daredevil display. When I think of the Netflix show, the iconic opening is what comes to mind. That perfect theme song and those visuals, they totally capture the tone of the show, so that's what I want to replicate today. The opening actually only features a few elements: the bridge, Lady Justice, the church, and Daredevil. I'm not gonna do Daredevil because then it'll look like I have two of them in my display, or three if you include Matt, and the other elements just don't look right on their own. So I went with the most obvious choice, a gargoyle on the rooftop. This is the perfect background element, you know? Visually, it's interesting, but it also fades into the background when there are other characters around it. Besides that, the rooftop will also allow me to elevate the figures so that they don't all have to be at the same height. The only issue I have is that it's not easy doing a low poly model of a gargoyle. I want to keep the polygon count to a minimum because that'll make the folding process much easier. There it is. Still looks like some sort of a demon cat to me. Before I proceed, let me do a quick check to make sure everything is going well. Okay, there's enough space to fit 3 characters. The idea is to have Daredevil in the middle, but I can see myself putting Kingpin there as well. I glued everything together and I also added a few pieces of debris. Now let's add some color. I've decided to use spray paint here because spray paint can give me an even flat finish, something I can't really achieve with my printer or regular paint. And I'm using black as a base color so that I can get a richer red over it later. Look how beautiful this looks. In the Netflix opening, there was like a spotlight shining down at the various objects, and I want to recreate that feeling. So when I was applying the red spray paint, I focused on spraying it from the top-down angle, and the end result turned out even better than I expected. Time to put the figures together. Ooh, such a simple design, but it looks so cool. You know what would make it look even cooler? Fancy red lighting. Okay, this looks like it should be displayed in an art gallery or something. It looks like a high-end sculpture. I would end the video here, but I also want to try one more thing. But I also don't know if it'll work. So let me take some photos for memory's sake. In case I wreck the display, I tend to only make things once. So if it fails, I'm not gonna do the same thing again. But the good news is, I also tend to be quite lucky. Everything usually works out for me. So what is this final step, you ask? It is the dripping red liquid. Now in the opening, the liquid is used to reveal the objects. But I can't do that. That would require too much dark magic. But I can still mimic the idea of it. It's just that the gargoyle is already revealed. So I did a little test on this poor Dragon Ball Super Zeno figure, and I got the texture I was going for. And don't worry, this Zeno figure was ruined already. It came with a backwards body, so I was okay with it being ruined. So what I did was I mixed some red mica powder into UV resin to get that red metallic liquid look, and I'm gonna add it to the gargoyle with a toothpick. I can probably just pour it, but I want to be able to control the flow. The good thing with UV resin is that it doesn't cure until you shine a UV light on it, so I can manipulate it with a toothpick to form the shape I want, and then freeze it in place with a UV light. UV resin has a thick consistency, but some of the drips did get a bit too runny. But I think as a whole, I did a pretty good job. Especially in fancy red lighting. The metallic sheen on the resin just looks so delicious. Okay, UV resin is quite toxic. Do not let uncured UV resin touch your skin. It is a fun material to play with, but it also can be a health hazard if you're not careful. I have sensitive skin, so I try to minimize the usage of it more now. That said though, the UV resin elevated this display even more in my opinion. The dripping effect is a bit on the subtle side, but it is the crucial element that was missing earlier. Maybe I could have added even more and emphasized the effect even further, but I was too nervous about wrecking it. And I'm happy with the final result. After all, the display is meant to be the stage for the figures. It's not meant to overshadow them. I think I struck a good balance. My attention is still on the figures themselves, and a gargoyle just makes them even cooler. What do you think? Do you like my Daredevil display? Let me know down below. This is a relatively simple display, but I'm quite impressed with how effective it is. Credit goes to the people who designed the original opening. It is so memorable and iconic. It makes capturing the essence of it that much easier, you know? I just need a deep red moody background, a simple object, and a bit of red liquid dripping down from it. Let's enjoy this montage of this really awesome Daredevil display. When I designed the gargoyle, I wasn't sure if it was the right object. I knew it would be a great item for Daredevil to interact with, but I wasn't sure about the height. It turned out to be a little bit taller than I hoped. That is why I added those random debris pieces on the rooftop, so that Daredevil can stand on them too. Thankfully that worked out as well. Everything still looks cohesive. But look at these photos, man. They are so epic. The Daredevil figure itself is good, but mine came with really loose joints. But this makes him look like he's worth $1 million. I wasn't able to do that many poses with him. Actually, all three of them can't really do dynamic poses for various reasons. But it kinda works with the characters. They don't need to be dramatic, right? Give this video a like if you enjoyed today's video. I need a little break from studded figures. Even though I have to say I've been really happy with how the last few figures turned out. But I want to work on other things next, so stay tuned for that. And as always, stay inspired and I'll see you soon. I can make it, so can you. Hello, this is Ken. I like making things. Whether it's repainting my figures or making diorama displays, I love making things look awesome. My goal is to elevate my figures so they can shine on my display. Join my DIY venture as I ask myself the same question every week. Can I make it?